Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure. And this is my perspective. So here we are back with another edition of a review for co-parenting with the Sperlins. This is a review for episode 4 called Car Sick. Now, this episode wasn't extremely eventful. However, there were a few things that I wanted to point out in the review of this episode. The first thing that I wanted to point out was I really thought that Stephanie did a really great job addressing her son's asthma attacks and things of that nature. Having had a son, which as you know was really biologically my little brother, he was a chronic severe asthmatic. And so I'm very familiar with being up all night, preparing a machine. Sometimes the breathing machine is not enough. They still have to go to the emergency room and be tended to in the emergency room. Sometimes they stay overnight. There were times where he stayed for long periods of time, and even an incident where he had to be intubated because the asthma attack they were so strong. So I really had a lot of empathy for that situation, and actually a lot of sympathy for it, because I understood it from a personal point of view. So if you've ever had a child or somebody that you're taking care of and they are severe chronic asthmatics, then you probably were personally sort of invested in that that perspective or in that part of the show. And I thought she showed a lot of good mothering skills. And the reason why I point out Stephanie's mothering skills is because sometimes, even if you're not the best wife, sometimes that translates into being not a good mom. In this case, not so. She may have gotten divorced from Dennis, but she does seem to be an attentive mother, which I actually like. Now, moving on to the other part that I thought was interesting. Something that I thought actually was interesting in this episode. So in this episode, we had Dennis trying to sell 2 older cars that he had. Okay. These were like rebuilt cars, or like antique. So they weren't like old for the sake of just being old, like old jalopies. These were classics. And you could tell that at one point he had them as low riders and things of that nature. Being from LA, that's the culture out there. The culture out there, and it's been like that for a long time. You have the older model cars, the older Cadillacs, the older Chevy Impalas, the older Oldsmobiles, the older Pontiacs, and things of that nature. And they rebuild them, they restore them. They, put candy paint on them. They put all types of effects in them, crazy colors, rims, all that good stuff. Put all of the chrome and, all of that. And then they'll put the finishing touch is to put hydraulics on them or ground effects or whatever the case may be. And it can be simplified or it can be really elaborate, but that's part of the urban culture in LA. So I understand why Dennis had 2 cars like that, because he probably grew up seeing, everybody rolling through, they got them sitting low and they pop, on 3 wheels. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing that goes on in LA. So he had 2, I think one of them was a Cadillac. I forgot what the other one was. And then he was intended on selling those cars because, as you know, he had gotten the Bentley. And so it was just time to get those 2 cars and sell them. Okay, make space in your garage. And it was just time to, as Dennis explained, it's time for him to grow up. This was something that he, wanted, and it was cool for the time that he had him. But now, he's stepping into to grown man stuff. So, the Bentley is grown man, or whatever. So I understood the concept behind him getting rid of those cars. But at the same time, the money, the proceeds from the cars were supposed to be going into his son's like trust funds or what have you, right? And so Stephanie thought that since the money and the proceeds were supposed to be going to the boys, that she had some type of say in when the cars were sold and when they were out of his driveway, and when, just trying to control things. Ladies, ex-wives, ex-girlfriends, baby mamas, whatever space you occupy, when you are, just because you share children with this man still, and you can't try to still control his life through the kids and try to insert yourself in certain aspects of what's going on, and using the fact that you have children with him as the excuse as to why you're in business, in his personal business. So what that money is supposed to be going in a fund for them or in a trust for them. He'll sell the cars when he sell them. Why are you worried about it? The cars don't belong to you. They're not in your name. So if you there is no such thing as she didn't trust that he was going to do it. She knew he was going to do it. She knew he was going to keep his word about where the money was going to go and blase blam. But it's like, calm down. This is how not to co-parent. That's actually how not to co-parent. It's not your business what he do with his everyday funds and his things. Whatever you think that is supposed to be happening, quote unquote, for your kids. So that's not the excuse to be all well, and then getting in his business from various different perspectives and in different ways. And when he questioned you as to why you want to know, or why you in his business, or why you asking him certain questions and this, that, and the third, like, why are you doing that? Then now you want to say, well, I just want to know because my kids gonna be involved and that's gonna affect them. And there may be some indirect effect, what have you, but slow your roll. Slow your roll. It's the subtlety of trying to exercise control. Ladies, this is what gets you in the divorce. This is what gets you in Stephanie's position of being an ex-wife, having to co-parent. So many of us as Black people, we grow up with much worse than that. So what Stephanie's doing seems lightweight. However, it's not lightweight, and it has a cumulative effect, a cumulative negative effect on the relationship, because that is a form of masculinity. Anytime where you're trying to actually control all the outcomes of his actions, because you may be indirectly affected or the children may be indirectly affected. It's cap. Because if that man is actually an involved father, you know that he's not going to do anything to the detriment of the children. So you're not really scared about that. You're not worried that he's going to hurt them, or that he's going to put them in harm's way, or that he's going to purposely be doing things to set them back, and so forth and so on. You actually know that. So you're not really worried about that. You just use that as an excuse to know where he's at and what he's doing and where his money's going. And, all of that's not your business. It's not your business, the totality of his resources. As long as when you look around, you're getting the children are getting the support that they need from their father. The rest of that is not your business. When you're not with him no more, that's not your business. It's not your business. What he pay, what he don't pay, who he pay, who he give money to, where he get. That's nothing in your business. You figure your own money out. This and I can see it now. I see where the divorce came from. She ain't the craziest I seen, but you don't gotta be one of them head patting, cussing ratchets to be overly masculine and controlling. You actually don't have to be that. She's actually one of the more quiet, sort of docile ones. I told you there's a such thing. See, there's a such thing as a hyena that's more docile. See, not all of them is in your face rolling their neck. All of them not doing that. But the effect is the same because the mentality is still there. I'm going to control the different outcomes. I'm just going to be a little bit more manipulative about it. As if he can't understand that that's what's happening. So that was my take on this particular episode. I didn't like how she was acting. Ladies, don't do it. Take a lesson from that. If you think, oh, well, she wasn't that bad. She wasn't. You may be able to understand why she said it, but that doesn't make it right. I understand it, but I disagree. It's not her business. If them cars sat there another 6 months in that driveway, who business is that? That's not even her driveway. She ain't got to worry about it blocking her car. You pay attention to what's in your driveway, ma'am. Anyway, I just wanted to come here and do this review. Check it out. The link to this episode is going to be in the description box. So definitely go ahead, subscribe to Dennis Sperling's channel. Go ahead and check out this episode of co-parenting with the Sperlings, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Once again, the link to that show is going to be in the description box. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.